Using follow for follow strategy on social media in 2023. The follow for follow method on social media is a great way to grow your followers. However, for some of us, we've accustomed to follow a bunch of users in a list. This is a bad thing. It is important to realize that whenever you're following someone at random, the probability of them following you back is very low. This is because of a couple of reasons. Firstly, people are increasingly wary of spam followers. Most likely, someone that follows you out of the blue just hopes for a follow back in return. Hence, they wouldn't bother engaging much on your post or not at all. They're what we like to call ghost followers. Secondly, you haven't broken the ice with them. In other words, they're completely strangers and are less likely to follow you back. What is follow for follow strategy? Basically, the follow for follow method is the act of following as many users as possible, preferably in your niche, for the intention of a follow back. This method has been around for quite some time now. In fact, it originated in the earliest days of Instagram. This method is also reinforced by a bunch of different hashtags, such as follow for follow back, and F for F. However, the people who use these hashtags most likely aren't going to follow you back because they're using it just for the sake of others following them without them actually reciprocating. How does it work? Here are three methods, the first being the worst and the last being the best. Feel free to skip to the last method if you're looking for the most reliable one. The old school method. What is the old school method? The old school follow for follow method works like this. Follow as many random users as possible in a list. Pray and hope for a follow back. As you can see, this is rather ineffective because of a couple of reasons. Firstly, you're less likely to get a follow back because people will regard you as a spam. Secondly, you're prone to be action blocked, covered later in the restriction section below. This method used to work in the past when Instagram was fairly new, but it's almost redundant today. In the past, Instagram hasn't implemented any follow restrictions. Additionally, there used to be no following limit, so you could follow an infinite number of users. And yes, there are some users who followed millions of users, who abused the following action to the max. Unfortunately, the days of spam are over as restrictions are getting stricter and stricter to prevent automation. The new school method. What's a newer method then? A more current follow for follow method is by following others in a list and in time intervals. Follow users in your niche or of your competitors in intervals, like a few of their posts to grab their attention. Hope for a follow back. This method is more refined than the previous one because it relies on intervals and grabbing attention. This means that the follow back rate is going to be much higher than before. However, there is still one underlying issue, a very important one. You're still not breaking the ice with users that you followed, so the person less likely to follow you back. For example, if you know someone in person, you'll need to ask them for the username to be able to follow them on Instagram. If you're following someone using this method, you're still not providing any context and the person is less likely to follow you back because you aren't mutual. A great way to solve this is by direct messaging the user you followed and politely ask them to follow you back. But this is a bit odd. The most current and effective method. The most current and effective method is by joining follow for follow communities. It's one of the easiest ways to grow your followers, which reinforces the follow for follow method. You can join in follow for follow community on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or even TikTok. These groups are basically places where you can share your username, follow others, and direct message them for a follow back. And they work tremendously. You can quite possibly gain 10 to 20 followers a day by joining them. There are lots of follow for follow communities on the web. You can find a full list of those communities here. Just go to followchain.org. Is it still beneficial? If you've got no budget but you've got time, it can be perfect for you. Even if you're low on time, you can spend 5 minutes a day doing it and get results. However, it's only temporary. Sure, you may get an influx of followers with this method at first, but they're only going to stay a short while. When you follow for follow, the majority of the people will end up unfollowing you within a few days. Where does this get you? Back where you were before. Instead, focus on creating great content and only follow accounts that you're genuinely interested in to see true social media growth. Before we end this video, want to stand out from the crowd? Get the business with personalized outreach. Get Selly. Turn every prospect into a client using hyper-personalization on Facebook, LinkedIn, emails, and landing pages. Get 3 times more replies, 325% more conversions, and more sales from every message you send. Social media personalization. You can send personalized image messages on social media. Email personalization. Landing page personalization. Create landing page with personalized text and image. So what are you waiting for? Get Selly now. Just go to getselly.in.